Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over a major cool down which is going to be impacting parts of the eastern and central United States as well as parts of the Rockies and the Northwest. We're going to be going over how cold those temperatures will be as well as who could potentially be seeing snowfall as a result of this cool down, and we'll also be talking about why this cool down is occurring and what's leading it to occur. So before we do get into it, I do want to talk about my winter forecast. I recently finished creating it and that'll be coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, or 10 a.m. Pacific Time. So make sure you have your notifications turned on so you don't miss that when that does come out. Here's a sneak peek of the overall forecast for the winter forecast. So that'll be explained in more detail in tomorrow's video. So make sure you are there and make sure you are subscribed and you have your notifications on so you don't miss the video when it does come out. So here's the current National Weather Service page. We have some tropical storm warnings, hurricane warnings, storm surge warnings, all of that over parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, and parts of Texas. Flash flood watch is also in effect for parts of Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. We also have some fire weather watches spread around parts of the mountainous west as well as parts of the western plains. We have some air quality alerts in effect for parts of Oregon, California, Wyoming, and Colorado, as well as some wind advisories in effect for parts of Alabama and Mississippi, as well as parts of Nevada and California, as well as parts of western Washington state. And then we also have some red flag warnings in effect for parts of northern Montana. So here is the current, or here is the European Ensemble Model 2-meter temperature anomalies, and this is showing you how cold or warm compared to normal it is going to be. So this is based on your current averages for this date and time. So we have in the reds, the oranges, the browns, that's all indicating warmer than normal temperatures, while the blues, the greens, the purples, and even the pinks are indicating some cooler than normal temperatures for whichever region it's over. So this is indicating how far below or above normal your temperatures are going to be for that specific time. We're going to go through 24-hour increments. We're going to start off with the European Ensemble Model and then go to the GFS Ensemble Model. Now, here is the current European Ensemble Model 60 hours out. So this would be for Sunday morning, October 11th, and we're looking at cold air over parts of the northern Great Lakes and the interior and northern New England, the interior northeast and the northern New England regions, where you have some cooler than normal temperatures. But that's not what I want you guys to focus on. Focus on this cold air up in the northwest and southwestern Canada, and that's going to be penetrating parts of the high pressure ridge which is sitting over parts of the northern plains. Now we have the big area of warm air which is over the plains by this point, and that has to break down in order for any cold air to be able to infiltrate this area and then eventually seep down into the United States. So here is one more frame out, and we're looking, this would be by Monday morning, October 12th, and we're looking at this cold air now moving over the central Rockies, and that is pushing this warm air out to the east. Now, that is going to allow an opening behind this for some cold air to build out of northern Canada and dip into southern Canada and then eventually into the United States. So look what's going to happen. We're going to see this big frontal system move by. Much of the United States still under some warmer than normal temperatures, but look what's happening in western and central Canada. We have some very, or at least fairly cold temperatures building up here. So let's continue this forward a little bit. Here would be by Wednesday morning, October 14th. That cold air is now spreading a little bit further to the east up in Canada. We have some warm air trying to build over parts of the central and western United States, but that'll eventually break down. Now, here would be by October 15th, Thursday morning, and this is when you're going to really start to see it infiltrate parts of the United States. It's going to start seeping into, I would say, anywhere north of about 45 degrees north. That's where I would say the cold air would be by this point. So for parts of northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, northern Minnesota, much of North Dakota, and northern Montana, northern Idaho, and northern Washington state, we're looking at that cold air now seeping into there. Now look at up in Canada. We we still have a very, very cold air mass that's sitting over this region, and that'll eventually dominate the pattern over parts of the eastern and central United States. Let's play this forward. Here would be by October 16th. What we're seeing is that we're having another low pressure system separate from this big overarching low pressure system, which is just kind of spinning around over parts of central Canada. So we have one up here, and then we have another one dipping down into the Great Lakes by this point, and the edge of the cold air now edging very far to the east by this point. Now let's continue moving on with this model run, and here would be by October 17th, Saturday, and we're looking at that cold air now for the eastern third of the United States as well as parts of the northern plains, and you can see that's the general shape of the cold air in the United States. It's now moved all the way to the east. This would be by the 17th, so this would be right around 8 days out. Now, here would be for October 18th, Sunday morning, and we're looking at cold air again getting resupplied in parts of central and western Canada, actually most of Canada by this point, but the really cold air is up in British Columbia, and it would be up in the northern territories of Canada, and that is going to be starting to, again, move its way further to the south. So, as we're getting done with this cold air mass, we're going to start getting another one that's going to try and move in behind it and replace it. Now, we are starting to see a little bit of ridging start to move in through the central and western U.S., so that might slow it down a little bit. Here would be by October 19th, and here would be by October 20th, and it's really starting to get going again. So you might see a brief warm-up as you get probably from the 17th to the 18th, and then maybe a brief warm-up for the 19th before it starts to get cold again on the 20th, where much of the northern United States is now under that cold air. Now, here would be by October 21st, and we're looking at Wednesday morning by this point, and this is fairly far out, probably right around 12 or 13 days out. That cold air still in the central and eastern United States by this point, but it's confined a little bit further to the north, and then it kind of sits there as we get to October 22nd and October 23rd, still sitting there, but you can generally tell that we're going to see a jet stream pattern that's kind of like this, which is actually fairly usual for a La Nina pattern where you see most of your cold air over this part of the country. Now, here is the current GFS ensemble model run, and we'll quickly go through this one because both of them verify each other fairly well. Now, here would be by Monday morning, October 12th, we're looking at that cold air over the Central Rockies. That was what the European ensemble model had, and let's play this through a little bit more. Here would be by Tuesday morning, October 13th. The GFS ensemble model has the cold air a little bit further to the south than the European ensemble, so that is something that you want to keep your eye on. Here would be by Wednesday morning, October 14th. Here would be the 15th, and that cold air now seeping into the United States, and you can definitely tell that this model is a little bit quicker than the European ensemble model with this cold air mass. Here would be by the 16th, so by this point, the European model still had warm air for these areas, and it still had this cold air restrained to parts of the central Canada region, but for the 20th, that's when the cold air really got unleashed over much of the United States on the European ensemble model. On the GFS ensemble model, it wants to bring it in by October 16th, so that would be by this upcoming Friday. So definitely there's a big difference in the timing, but generally what's going to happen, what is actually going to happen with this is not very disputed. We do think that there's going to be a big cold air mass. The real issue here is when is that going to occur. Now, here would be by October 17th, going through to the 18th, that cold air is still lingering. Here would be by the 19th, the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd. It's still over the eastern United States. Here would be by the 23rd. It's starting to edge a little bit further to the east and to the north, but it's still over much of the eastern United States. And then here would be by the 24th. And we still see that over the northeast and the Great Lakes. So this is definitely going to be a very persistent pattern. Now, what is driving this pattern? Well, we have different oscillations really matching up together. Now, the PNA, which you can see at the bottom of your screen, this is basically a graph showing you for that region whether you're seeing above or below normal temperatures. So once you get above this zero line, that's where you're above or below. So we're currently in above normal pattern for the PNA, which is over the western United States and parts of the Pacific Ocean. But we're looking at this dipping down again and then coming back up. So what that means is that we're going to see warm conditions over the west, and of course, when you have warm conditions over the west, that means that you have cold conditions over the east. But something that can strengthen that cold air is if you have support from the Arctic. Well, the Arctic oscillation measures, of course, how cold it is in the northern Canada region into Siberia. All of those regions is where the Arctic oscillation really counts for, and we're seeing that one also go up. And when that one goes up, that's when you can really see some quite potent air masses move into that region. Now, and move into the United States because you have warmer temperatures in the Arctic and that cold air is displaced. And then here would be the NAO, and this is going to be a big driver of this pattern. A lot of the models have it nosediving, and that means you have low pressure over the central Atlantic. Over the western Atlantic, you have high pressure, and then over the eastern U.S., you have low pressure, which means cold air. So a lot of these patterns, I would say, except for the AO, that really isn't supporting it too much. But for the PNA and the NAO, you really have a cold pattern setting up. Now, also here's the Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10 day outlook from the 14th to the 18th. Cold air over the south central and southeastern United States, and then here would be the 8 to 14 day outlook from the 16th to the 22nd. And much of the central United States and even edging into the eastern United States by this point would be under that cold air. Let's start quickly looking at the snowfall. Here's the averaged out snowfall totals from the European Ensemble Model, a collection of 51 models going through October 24th, and we're looking at that dusting line getting fairly far to the south for this is only through October 24th. So here's where the dusting line goes to, and you can tell it's definitely fairly far to the south. Once you get into those darker grays, that's where I think you have a better chance of seeing snowfall from now until the 24th. And then here would be the GFS ensemble model for that same time frame all the way until the early morning hours on the 25th, and we're looking at pretty much the same for those regions. This is a combination of, I believe, about 31 models, and here's that dusting line. So you can tell it's pretty much the same for the European and the GFS. And then here is the 45-day snowfall totals on the European ensemble, and this is going through November 22nd, and we're looking at that dusting line getting even farther to the south by this point, and you can really tell that a wintry pattern would be setting up. And again, as you get to the darker grays, that's where you have a higher likelihood of that occurring. Of course, this is just an averaged out model, and that does not mean that this is necessarily going to happen. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.